In the shadows where truth and tales intertwine, we find the thrilling, the chilling, the downright spine-tingling. From the paranormal to the peculiar, every echo has a story. Dare to delve into the unexpected, the unexplained? Brace yourself, for you're about to embark on a journey where fear meets fascination. Stay tuned if you dare, for stories that will make your heart race and your mind ponder. Welcome to the realm of the eerie, the realm of the unknown. And remember, like and subscribe, if you dare. Ever pondered over the origins of the fearful creature, the werewolf? This chilling narrative begins over 4 millennia ago, nestled within the pages of the ancient epic of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest known pieces of literature. Our tale centers around Gilgamesh, a god-king and the son of Lugalbanda, the 5th king of the First Dynasty, believed to have reigned around 2600 BC. Gilgamesh was no ordinary man, but a demigod with a direct connection to the supernatural, a connection that would lead him to a fateful encounter with the goddess Ishtar. Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, love, war, and sex, was well known for her capricious nature and her many lovers. One of these was a humble shepherd who had fallen deeply in love with her. He would leave bountiful offerings at a shrine on a mountainside, trying to win her favor. At first, the arrogant Ishtar played along, encouraging the shepherd's devotions. But as time passed, she grew bored with his repeated offerings and his unending affection. In a cruel twist of fate, Ishtar transformed the shepherd into a wolf, a creature despised and feared by his fellow men. His own hounds, not recognizing their master, tore him to pieces. Now, why is this shepherd's tale important to our story? Because it's the first written account of a man being transformed into a wolf. But the question remains, can he truly be considered a werewolf? After all, the term werewolf, as we know it, suggests a transformation that is reversible, a creature that is part man, part wolf, and not a man cursed to live out his days as a beast. The shepherd, cursed by a goddess for his devotion, met a tragic end that has echoed through the ages. His tale, woven into the fabric of one of the oldest stories known to man, may just hold the origins of the werewolf myth that continues to haunt us to this day. So was this shepherd the first werewolf in history? Let's delve deeper into his tale. Ishtar, a goddess known for her fickleness, plays a significant role in our tale. This ancient deity, often portrayed with a bow, a quiver of arrows, and a lion, is an embodiment of both nurturing and destructive forces. Her dualistic nature made her a revered yet feared figure in ancient Mesopotamia. Ishtar was the goddess of fertility, love, war, and sex, a combination that made her a force to reckon with. Her reputation? Well, let's just say it was as volatile as the goddess herself. This was a goddess who did not shy away from expressing her desires or exercising her power, often with disastrous consequences for those who found themselves in her crosshairs. Take her past relationships, for example. Ishtar was known to have many lovers, but these dalliances rarely ended well. There was Tammuz, the god of vegetation, who spent half the year in the underworld as a result of his relationship with Ishtar. And then there was the bird god, Imdugud, who Ishtar turned into a scorpion-like creature after growing tired of him. But perhaps the most poignant of these doomed romances was that of a young shepherd who fell head over heels in love with Ishtar. He offered her bountiful gifts, lavishing her with the kind of devotion that would make any deity blush. At first, Ishtar was pleased, even intrigued. But as time passed, her interest waned. The shepherd's constant adoration, once a delight, now seemed tedious to the fickle goddess. And so, in a fit of boredom and perhaps a touch of malice, Ishtar did what she did best. She transformed the poor shepherd into a wolf, a tragic end for a man who had done nothing but adore her. His own hounds, unable to recognize their master in this new form, tore him to shreds. A chilling reminder of the capriciousness of the gods and the perils of unrequited love. The shepherd's love for Ishtar was his downfall, but how did this come to be? A humble shepherd, blinded by love and devotion, crosses paths with the volatile Ishtar. Our tale takes a chilling turn as we delve into the shepherd's story. A simple man of the fields, with a heart full of adoration for the goddess Ishtar, he was an embodiment of pure, unadulterated devotion. His days were spent tending his flock, his nights spent under the open sky, whispering prayers to his beloved goddess. His offerings were not those of gold or jewels, but of his hard work and toil. He brought forth the finest wool from his flock, the freshest milk, and the most succulent mutton. His shrine on the mountainside was a testament to his love, adorned with these humble offerings. The shepherd's actions did not go unnoticed. Ishtar, intrigued by his unwavering devotion, began to take interest in him. She was accustomed to the lavish gifts of kings and nobles, but this was different. It was simple, sincere, and heartfelt. It was a novelty that amused her, a shiny new toy to play with. Now, this is where our story veers into the realm of horror. You see, the shepherd was not simply taken with the goddess, he was utterly consumed by his love for her. His every waking moment was dedicated to her, a blind devotion that clouded his judgment, made him susceptible to the whims of the volatile Ishtar. His love, pure though it was, led him to a path of darkness. As the shepherd's adoration grew, so did his obsession. His offerings became more extravagant, his prayers more fervent. Ishtar, initially intrigued, soon grew bored. His devotion, once a source of amusement, became a nuisance. His love story was about to take a horrifying turn. The shepherd, blinded by his love, failed to see the signs. He continued his devotions, oblivious to the growing disinterest of his beloved goddess. His love, however, was not rewarded as he had hoped. The shepherd's tale takes a horrifying turn as Ishtar's interest wanes. The shepherd, once the object of Ishtar's fleeting affection, suddenly finds himself on the receiving end of her capricious nature. One can only imagine the fear and confusion coursing through his veins as he senses a change in the air. The once warm and inviting gaze of the goddess, now glacial, her flirtatious smile turned into a cruel smirk. Unbeknownst to him, he was about to embark on a journey that would forever change his life in the annals of mythology. Ishtar, filled with boredom and annoyance, decided to transform the shepherd, the man who had offered her so much, into a creature of the night, a beast feared by many, a wolf. Imagine the shock that must have gripped the shepherd as his body began to change. His hands, once used to guide his flock, began to morph into paws. His skin, once smooth and warm, now covered in coarse fur. His face, once human, now a wolf's snout filled with sharp, menacing teeth. The horror of his transformation is made all the more terrifying by the fact it was not a gradual change, but rather a sudden and painful metamorphosis. He was trapped in a nightmare that was all too real. His heart pounding in his chest, his mind a whirlwind of terror and disbelief. The shepherd, now a wolf, must have felt a sense of betrayal. Ishtar, the goddess he had devoted himself to, had turned him into a monster. He was left alone, to wander the wilderness he once roamed as a man, now a beast. The ultimate horror came not from his transformation, but from the gruesome end that awaited him. Imagine the shock and despair as the shepherd, now a wolf, was set upon by his own hounds. The dogs he had raised and cared for turned against him in his hour of need. In a terrifying twist, the shepherd's own hounds tear him to pieces. The shepherd's tale ends in tragedy, but does it mark the birth of the werewolf legend? As we dive deeper into the murky waters of ancient folklore, we find ourselves questioning the shepherd's transformation. Was this the first werewolf, or just a man-turned-beast as punishment for his unrequited love? Modern werewolf myths often feature a full moon, a curse, or a bite from another werewolf as the catalyst for the transformation. Our shepherd, however, was transformed by a whimsical goddess out of sheer boredom. There was no full moon, no curse, and definitely no bite. Yet there are striking similarities between the shepherd story and the werewolf tales we've come to know. The transformation into a beast is the most obvious one. But there's more. In many werewolf stories, the man-turned-wolf retains no memory of his human life and often ends up hunted by those he once knew. The shepherd, too, was hunted and ultimately killed by his own hounds, a grim parallel to the fate of many a werewolf in horror lore. In addition, the theme of punishment is prevalent in both narratives. In the modern myth, the werewolf is often depicted as a tragic figure, cursed for some transgression or unfortunate circumstance. The shepherd's transformation can also be seen as a punishment, a divine retribution for his relentless and unreciprocated devotion. So was the shepherd the first werewolf? It's hard to say. His transformation was different from the ones we're familiar with, yet his story shares strikingly similar themes with the werewolf myths of today. Perhaps the shepherd's tale was an early seed, a primordial echo of the werewolf stories yet to come. Or maybe it was just a standalone tale. a stark warning of the dangers of unrequited love. The shepherd's unfortunate fate serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unrequited love and perhaps the birth of the werewolf legend. And so, our tale of the Campfire Horrors comes to an end. Until next time, sleep tight. Before we part ways, dear viewers, remember to stay vigilant. The Campfire Horrors may have been extinguished for now, but the embers of the unknown always remain. As you lay down to sleep tonight, don't forget the lessons from our tale. Safety is but a fleeting moment in a world of unseen. So, if you've enjoyed this journey into the abyss, don't forget to ring that bell and smash that like button. Do it before the thing under your bed decides to pay you a visit. Oh, and keep those night lights on. You never know what might be lurking in the dark. Thank you for embarking on this terrifying adventure with us. Until our paths cross again in another tale of the unknown. Goodbye and sweet dreams, if you can.